My name is Somkid. I'm 80 years old, and I want to tell you exactly what to put inside your wallet right now, at the beginning, without making you wait for it, because what I am going to give you is real, and it works. But it is not what the title implies. It is not a crystal or a written affirmation or a folded bill facing a certain direction, or any other physical object that is supposed to attract money through proximity to where you keep your money. None of those things change what determines how much money flows through your life, and you deserve to know that clearly at the start before we spend any more time together. What you put inside your wallet that actually changes your financial life is a specific and honest understanding. An understanding that lives in your mind and shapes every financial decision you make, every conversation about money you have, every assessment of your own value you arrive at, every opportunity you recognize or miss. That understanding, genuinely held and genuinely applied, changes the amount of money that flows through your life in ways that no physical object in your wallet could ever replicate. Because it changes the person who is making the financial decisions. And the person making the financial decisions is always the primary variable. Stay with me, because what I want to share today is not a consolation prize for the thing you hope to receive. It is something more genuinely useful, something that, when you actually work with it, produces real and observable changes in your financial life over real time. I was born in northern Thailand into circumstances where money was genuinely scarce, and where the hope that something simple and accessible might change the financial equation was not an abstraction. It was a real and understandable emotional need. I understand why the idea of putting something in your wallet and watching money come faster is appealing. It promises that the change you want is available without requiring everything that change usually requires, without the uncomfortable self-examination, without the slow work of building something real, without the sustained honesty that genuine financial improvement actually demands. But here is what I have learned across 8 decades of honest living and careful observation. The things that genuinely change how much money flows through a life are real, and they are available. They are just not simple in the way that a wallet charm is simple. They are simple in a different way, in the way that honest things are simple, in the way that things that actually work are simple, in the way that the truth, when you find it and when you apply it, has a kind of directness that no mystical complexity can match. Here is what to put inside your wallet. Put a number, a specific, honest, real number. The number that represents exactly what you know, your work and your time and your contribution are genuinely worth. Not the number you have been accepting, not the number you have been afraid to ask for. The number that represents the true value of what you create and what you offer. Write it down, put it in your wallet, and let it be there every time you open your wallet, asking you the question that number contains. Am I charging this? Am I asking for this? Am I claiming what I have actually earned? That number, genuinely known and genuinely held in your awareness changes every financial negotiation you enter, every conversation about compensation you have, every price you set for what you offer, every decision about whether to accept the first offer or to ask for what you actually know is more accurate. The number in your wallet does not attract money magically. It reminds you in the moments when you would otherwise default to your old habit of undervaluing yourself, of what you actually know your contribution is worth. And here's what I didn't understand then. The gap between what most people accept and what their work actually merits is not determined primarily by the market. It is determined primarily by what they believe they can ask for, by what feels appropriate to claim, by the internal story they carry about what people like them can expect to receive. That story, operating below the level of conscious awareness, shapes every financial negotiation in ways that produce consistently smaller outcomes than the market would actually support. The number in your wallet is a challenge to that story. It says, with the quiet authority of something you have genuinely determined, this is what it is worth. And every time you open your wallet and see it, you are reinforcing the recognition of that worth. Not through magic, through the accumulation of a different self-understanding that eventually shows up in how you negotiate, how you price, how you speak about what you offer, and how much you are willing to accept. The second thing to put inside your wallet is a clear and honest picture of where you actually stand financially right now. Not a vague impression, not a feeling, a clear picture derived from actually looking at what comes in and what goes out of your current real financial position. Most people who are struggling financially have never fully formed this picture. They have fragments, they have feelings, but they have not done the specific, honest work of seeing exactly where they stand. That picture, held clearly in your awareness, does two things that nothing else can replicate. First, it removes the particular anxiety that lives in financial vagueness, the dread that comes from sensing that things are not good, but not knowing exactly how not good they are. Clarity, even uncomfortable clarity, almost always produces a more manageable reality than the amplified fear that vagueness generates. Second, it makes genuine navigation possible. You cannot steer toward something from a starting point you cannot see clearly. The clear picture of where you actually are is the only starting point from which real movement can be accurately directed. This picture does not stay in your wallet in any physical sense, but it stays in your awareness, and your awareness is the most powerful financial instrument you possess, far more powerful than any physical object, because your awareness shapes every decision, and the decisions you make across the ordinary days of your real life determine what happens to the money that flows through it. You know what surprised me most when I began to develop genuine financial clarity in my own life? How different the reality was from the anxiety I had been carrying about it. Not always better in terms of the actual numbers, but always more manageable, always more workable, always something I could actually respond to in specific and practical ways. The anxiety that had been occupying my attention was far larger than the actual problem, and the clarity that replaced the anxiety freed enormous amounts of energy and attention that then became available for actual improvement. The third thing to put inside your wallet is a genuine commitment to the one financial practice that you know you have been avoiding. Not 20 practices, one. The one that you have been most consistently not doing, that you also know would make the most difference. For some people, that is looking at their financial numbers honestly and regularly. For others, it is asking for what their work is actually worth, instead of accepting what is offered. For others, it is setting aside something for their future self before spending everything on the present. For others, it is having the financial conversation with a partner or a family member that has been avoided for too long. You know what that one practice is. Most people do. They have known for a while, and they have found many reasonable and even valid reasons why the timing has not been quite right to do it yet. The commitment to that practice, held genuinely in your awareness and honored consistently in your behavior, does more for your financial life than any object in your wallet could do, because it changes what you actually do. And what you actually do, day after day in the ordinary texture of your real life, is what your financial life is made of. What most people don't realize is that the wallet charm is appealing precisely because it asks so little, because it promises the change without requiring the work. And the reason that promise cannot be fulfilled is exactly the same reason that it is appealing. The financial change worth having is not available without the work, not because the universe requires you to suffer before rewarding you, but because the work itself is what produces the change. The work of seeing clearly is what produces clarity. The work of valuing your contribution honestly is what produces fair compensation. The work of setting aside something consistently is what produces accumulation. The work of engaging directly with what you have been avoiding is what produces the resolution of what you have been avoiding. None of those things are delivered by objects. They are developed by people, by the specific, consistent, often unglamorous practice of doing what actually works in the real financial lives of real human beings. The fourth thing to put inside your wallet is the memory of one moment when you received exactly what your contribution was genuinely worth. Most people have had at least one such moment, a negotiation that went well, a project that was paid fairly, a recognition that felt genuinely proportionate to what you had given. That memory matters not as nostalgia, but as evidence. Evidence that the amount you know your work is worth is actually available, that it is not merely a fantasy, that it has been real at least once in your actual experience. That memory, held genuinely, says something important. It says, "This has been possible," which means it is possible again. At 80 years old, I have watched many people look for external objects to solve what are fundamentally internal problems. And I have watched many people do the quieter, slower, less romantic work of changing their relationship to their own worth, their own clarity, their own honesty about what is and what could be. The second group consistently produces better and more durable financial outcomes than the first. Not because they are more intelligent or more talented or more fortunate, because they are doing what actually works. The understanding that produces financial change is what belongs in your wallet, carried in your awareness to every financial encounter you have, present in every negotiation and every pricing decision, and every assessment of your own contribution. That is what changes how much money comes. Not faster in the magical sense, but more genuinely, more consistently, and more durably than any object could ever arrange. Tell me in the comments what you know your work is genuinely worth that you have not yet been fully claiming. Not the number you have been accepting, the number you know is accurate, because naming it honestly is the first step toward actually receiving it. And if this message gave you something real to carry with you, stay close to this space, because financial clarity is not built in one conversation. It is built in the daily practice of returning to honest seeing, one ordinary day at a time.